and gentlemen, welcome back to Strawberry Hill Podcast. I'm your host, Mike Simmons, and we are here at the Shop Cigar Lounge, always filming in here. Like I said, if you haven't checked us out, come and check us out, please. We're open every day but Monday. We got live music on the weekends, so on, so on. Enough about me. But before we get started, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Make sure you follow us on the platforms. And today I have a good friend, and he's also a member here at the Shop Cigar Lounge. So I said, why not get him on the podcast? He does a lot of good stuff for the community. So we have Carlos Vides. Did I say that right?
That's right. Carlos Vides.
Vides.
Yeah.
Yes. So how are you, my friend?
Well, I'm excited to be sitting here at your podcast. I always see you guys doing a lot of cool things, and I finally get to be invited to the cool spot.
Yeah. I told you, a couple weeks ago that I was like, we got to do something. Now your book's out right here. What it takes.
Yes.
And we'll get to that. But I was like, now it'd be a perfect opportunity for you to come on and talk about it and talk about you and everything that you've gone through to get here. And
talking about me it's kind of easy.
So you're from Honduras, correct?
From Honduras,
yes.
Central America.
And so, how long did you live in Honduras for?
Well, I lived in Honduras until the age of 16. And then after that, a couple friends and I decided that we'll take a trip to United States. But taking the trip to United States, and the question a lot of people has in the United States, and I say somebody like you that was born here and always been here, so this is all you know.
Yeah.
And for us immigrants, the question that I always hear from people saying is, hey, why don't you just go and why do you come here anyway? And why don't you just come get a visa or figure out a way to come here legally?
Easy. Yeah.
There is a lot of red tape to go through, okay?
A lot, yeah.
So first you got to understand, I'm from Honduras, from a little village where at the time we're growing up, we didn't have electricity, running water, what we have here, televisions and refrigerators and air conditionings and all that stuff, right? With none of that. So, and the school that I went to is a tiny little school that in one little building had as much as 3 and 4 grade, 1, 2, and 3.
Jeez.
In the other little building, we'll have it 4, 5, and 6. And so that was how I grew up. And as well, I always tell people I didn't have my first pair of shoes until the age of 14. So if you ever been to a third world country, you see those kids chasing you around, Senor, chicles, selling you stuff, right? You can say that was one of me. Because that's exactly what I used to do as a kid. So my habit, my schedule was I will go to school. And then after school, around 2 o'clock, when I finish, my mom will have a basket full of vegetables or tamales or avocados, mangoes, and I went out and sell. And that was an everyday routine.
Jeez.
So then after that, I came back, and if I sold them quick, and sometimes I will fight, as much as I can to sell them as quick as possible so I can come back home and go play soccer. So in the evening, when the sun come down, we play soccer. We play soccer for maybe an hour or two because we had a big soccer field right in the center of the little community.
Yeah.
And that was the fun part.
So would you go sell to like tourist communities, or would
no?
There
was no tourists.
Gotcha.
I just went door to door with our little village, and just go door to door and sell it to them, and then when I finished, then came back home.
Yeah, then you got time to play soccer.
Delivered the money, and my mom will reward me with 20, sometimes 30 cents. And that I will accumulate the money, and that was enough to buy sodas, a bag of chip, a bag of M&Ms, and little things like that at the little grocery store that we had in the community.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then so you would do that, and then so you did that, and you got to the point to where you visited America, you said?
No. I did that from the age of about 7 years old to the age of, around 13.
13.
And then after that, I was able to, once I finished my 6th grade, I became a bricklayer. My brother was a bricklayer, so he taught me how to be a bricklayer. So we started, he built houses. So I was building houses with him. And I was making a little more money. And I want to make sure that we take our time telling you this because I really care to make sure that your audience understand the reason why we come to this country.
Sure.
And so I will tell you the rest, but this is the foundation why we come to this country. And so age of 13, a bricklayer. And age of 14 and a half, I became like an electrician. So I got this through the mail. Back in the days, they offer to you a school, like now it's a school on the internet, online, right? It used to be in the mail. Yeah, they will send you your diagrams and everything. So I would read the diagrams and follow instructions, fill the diagrams, and explain how everything, the wires were supposed to run. And so I after a few months, they said, "You good." That was enough for me to run wires and do power outlets, power switches, and things like that. So the community over, like few kilometers from my community, they had electricity. So I will go work there. So where I do electrical work.
So you guys didn't have electricity?
No, we didn't have electricity. So I will go over a few kilometers over, and they had electricity. So I will go work over there, and this was a little bigger community.
Yeah.
And they will hire me to do work for them. And my brother will do the bricklayer part, and I will do the electrical work for the houses.
So you seem like you got your work ethic very early on in your life. Yeah.
There was no chance.
Yeah, you don't have the option to just sit home and watch TV and just hang out.
We didn't have television.
Yeah, I mean that's what I mean. You didn't even have the option of, because kids
we
today.
didn't have the television.
Yeah.
And we had one TV in the whole community, and it was powered by a car battery. So the guy that owned the grocery store would have the car battery charge. And then he would charge us 10 cents to watch maybe a one or two shows. And once the battery ran out of juice, that's it. That was the end of the show. And then he had to send it over to the next community over at the same place where they had electricity to get a recharge.
Wow. So you're 14, now you're an electrician.
Yeah.
So where do you go from there?
Well, from there, I'm working and I'm making money. To my knowledge, I'm making money. I had a pair of shoes. I had a bicycle. I bought a bicycle. If you call it a bicycle, it was really just the frame and the wheels.
Yeah.
No brakes or anything else.
It just gets you there. You got to stop your feet. Your feet are your brakes.
That's it. Exactly. You got it. That was, that was it.
Yeah.
So my feet were the brakes, and that's it. So then at the age of 15 and a half, I met this guy. He was building this house, really nice house. And I was working on his house doing the electrical work. And his name is Sebastian. So I'm working in his house, and he's talking to me, and I asked questions. I said, "So, how do you make so much money?" And he said, "I went to United States." And going to United States, he had enough money to build a house, have a refrigerator, had a nice bed, a little, had a bicycle. He had a little S10 truck outside, and all these good-looking clothes and tennis shoes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, isn't that nice? And I say, how do you do that? And so he said, I went to New York, and he immigrated to New York and stayed there for 4 years and worked at Red Lobster as a dishwasher. And he said,
Lobster. This man became
he's living the dream.
In luxury from working at Red Lobster.
Yeah, he worked there for 4 years. The little community in New York is called Farmingdale. Farmingdale, Long Island. And he said, I went to Farmingdale, Long Island. I worked there as a dishwasher and saved all this money, and here it is. But then he said to me, he said, hey, somebody like you can go to United States and come back a lot of money, because you can make as much as $13, $14 an hour and work 40, 50 hours a week.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm calculating and I'm translating those numbers into lempiras, which is what it's called. And I'm like, this is a thing. I said, I can go to the United States, work 4 or 5 years, come back, buy a nice piece of land, build a house, buy a refrigerator, have a truck, have a Yamaha truck, have a boombox, and Calvin Klein jeans. And I'm doing all my list of things that I wanted. And I said, I'm definitely doing this. Definitely doing it. So I talked to my parents, and I talked to my friends, and two of them said, I'll go with you. So I said, okay. We got a few months to prepare. And we started, I personally was the instigator, so I started researching the maps and everything about the trip to United States. And within a few months, by almost the time when I was turning 16, we took off to United States.
So when you were 16?
Just about.
Yeah.
And
so who went with you?
It was two other friends, a little older than me, and we took off. And the money, I made some money from selling a pig that my mom has given me. I had a pig, and I sold it for 250 lempiras, which is the equivalent of pesos. And I sold this pig, and with that money, we took off.
Wow.
Yeah.
So now, really interesting now. So you get to America when you're 16?
16. Yeah.
16.
I actually turned 16 on the way here.
And so, like, fly over?
No. We took 14 weeks to get across Mexico.
Holy smokes.
Yes. Took 14 weeks, and the idea was that we will work and travel. Work and travel. So as a bricklayer, I said, I can work anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, I am 100% I can work anywhere. So you guys help me out. We work. And then whatever money we make, we move on. And I did that. We did exactly that. So we went through Guatemala in the first day. And then by the third day, we reached the borders of Mexico and Guatemala. And just when we were about to cross the river, Guatemala and Mexico, a whistle came up. And it was the police from Guatemala. Where are you going? I said, where are you going? I said, oh, we're just going like across the street. No, I go, no. You go into the north. And he said, come back. And so he made us empty our pockets, and he stole our money. Yeah. And he said, it's that, or I take you to the station. I said, no, just take it easy. So he let us go. He took our money, and we went on. And we went.
Were you guys like at zero at that point?
At that point, back to zero. Yeah, but we just a few blocks down the street on the other side of Mexico, there was, a community that we can go look for work.
Yeah.
My thinking was I can either work at a local flea market selling, because that's my thing. That I can go over there and sell anything, or we can work in the construction side, and that's what we did. So we tried the flea market. There was
this is when you got to Mexico.
Yeah, just at the border of Mexico and Guatemala. And I said we went to the flea markets, and they didn't have a very good pay. Or actually, I offered it for free. I said, you guys give us food. They didn't trust us. So we then walked around. We found the construction side. And we asked for a job, and they gave us a job. So we stayed there for about 2.5 weeks, enough to make money. Now, if you wonder the sleeping situation, the showering and everything.
I was just about to ask you that.
No, we were pretty much homeless, so we slept anywhere we can. So sleep, during the daytime, we'll pick out wooded area, and that's going to be our sleeping place. And so that's where we slept. Showers, we took showers at the construction site, because they always water running and big barrels of water to mix the motors and things like that. So that's where we took the showers. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So you're in Mexico. How long are you in Mexico for before
we were in Mexico about 14 weeks. 14 weeks we traveled, and we did that. We kept traveling. Every city that we stopped was maybe about 2 weeks, 3 weeks, until we made it to the border of Mexico and the United States. Yeah.
So you get to the United States, you cross over. Now what? Like, are you like thinking like, now I got to find a job? Are you like where do you plan on going once you get here?
I ended up in New York.
How did you get to New York?
Well, once again, you may ask, how in the hell? So we crossed the river around 4 o'clock in the morning, and right there in Brownsville, Texas. At that point, we all split because the other guys had families here. So the families sent money to pay the coyotes and things like that. So we got across the river in Brownsville, and in Brownsville we all split, and so I got dropped off to a place where I can walk to the desert. I walked for 3 days. And then when I got to the other side, then I went to a farmer and he gave me food. And then the guy also had a friend that was on his way to Houston, Texas. So he gave me a ride on his trunk of the car. Dropped me off at a local church. At the local church in Houston, Texas, which was a Salvadorian church, the guys told me, hey, if you need a job, we need to plant some flowers. I said, perfect. I worked there for 3 days, made enough money to pay for a Greyhound bus. Made it to New York.
To get from Houston to New York?
New York.
Wow.
Yeah. Main reason why I wanted to go there is because there was a community from my Honduran town. And also, I'm like, I can go see to a Red Lobster. Because I was going to
try to make the Red Lobster.
The Red Lobster. Make this Red Lobster drink come true. But then I turned, I didn't speak English. I didn't have papers, and I didn't have anything else. So it was just me. So I landed in New York, and buses, Central Station, New York City, and then from there I had to figure out how to get to Long Island.
Yeah.
And I asked around, and they said that there was a train station. They pointed out to me, the Puerto Rican lady took me to the train station, took it to Long Island, got off on Long Island Railroad.
So what year is this?
1990.
1990?
1990. Yeah.
What a crazy adventure to get to New York.
Got to New York.
Yeah, and you just got on a Greyhound bus, and it's like, you had nothing with you. Like, I'm going to get there. I'm going to start working.
Just a little bag. Yeah.
So you get to New York. You find your way to Long Island.
Yeah.
And so do you, immediately go to Red Lobster?
No. First, I had to find a place because this guy had told me that there is a deli in Farmingdale where all the Hondurans hang out. So I went to the deli. I asked at the train station because, in New York, most people speak Spanish. So I asked him, and they said, it's 2 blocks over to the right. Perfect. I walk over there, and I say, I'm from Honduras. I'm looking for this group of Honduran people. Oh, yeah, they're sitting over there playing pool table. They were playing. Talk to them. Oh, yeah, we know Sebastian and this and that. So perfect. I stay at one of their house, one of those people's houses. The only thing, he said, you got to be gone by 6 o'clock.
Why is that? You need to get out of their house.
Yeah, get out of the house. Slept there. The next day I got up and I went to look for a job. And at the time we had the newspaper, right? In the newspaper we had the health wanted. And they showed me that's where I look for jobs. And so I'm sitting at the local Dunkin' Donuts. And as I'm sitting at the local Dunkin' Donuts, the owner of the store come up and said, hey, yes, you looking for work? And I said, yes. And there is no English. So this was some kind of hand signs and words. Because if you say hello to me, that's it. I didn't even knew the word hello. So it was more like, guessing. So that's how it went down. So I took the job cleaning the kitchen. And he offered me $4.50 an hour.
You're like, that's not $13, $14 an hour.
But it was okay with me because I can eat donuts. He told me you can eat donuts, you can drink coffee, you cannot.
So you got
food essentially. I was set up. Was set up. And so I was staying at the house at the end of the block. The guy set me up so I can stay at these people's houses. There were about 30 people at that house. And so they let me stay there for a few months. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you worked at Dunkin' Donuts. Now I'm like, we got to get this timeline. This is a crazy timeline. So what got you, I guess, what was the next thing? So now you're working there, and I'm sure you're just like, I got to do more. Like, this is not it.
No, not being able to speak English. So that's a big stop. So the first thing was to learn the language. So I immediately started to learn English. Study up. So instead of listening to music, I got headsets and I listened to English words. So my goal was to learn 100 words per day.
So this is just like cassettes, like how to learn English.
Like the Walkmans that used to be. I don't know. They don't
I know. Yeah. He doesn't know. I know.
So I went through that process for about 6 months. And after that, the owner saw that I spoke English. And he moved me up to take care of customers. And he said, all you have to do is no coffee, donut. Black coffee, regular coffee. Cream and sugar, 2 creams, 1 cream, 1 sugar, 2 sugars. And that's it. And I knew how to count money. And that was it. And I did that. And about 6 months later, after that, I became assistant manager. And I just started to run the place. So by the time I was around 18 years old.
18, you're running a Dunkin' Donuts.
Yeah, I was already.
So you already had that business model already.
It's been in my blood. It's been in my blood. It's been in my blood. Yeah.
So what got you to Kansas City?
Well, after a while, in 1994, a family started to come to the United States, and they all started to get themselves situated here in Kansas City. Because my sister has married a guy that worked for GSA, and they got transferred to Kansas City. And so that's how this whole thing happened. In 1998, I moved to Kansas City because I was up there all by myself.
So you were there for 8 years?
Yes, by myself.
Wow.
And then I moved to Kansas City.
And were you at Dunkin' Donuts the whole time?
The whole time.
Really?
Yeah.
And by now, I'm sure you were probably regional manager 8 years later.
No, I was definitely doing very well. They even bought me a brand new car. They
Shout outs to Dunkin' Donuts. Yeah.
They took excellent care of me. The owner, Eric Markle, the best. He mentored me. He took me like a little brother, and he made sure that I had everything I needed and all that stuff. But in the meantime, you may wonder about papers. And that's a long story, but I had in my fights with immigration through 1994, 1995. And then I moved to Kansas City with the intention to come here, hang out with my family a little bit, and then move back to Honduras. And the idea when I moved back to Honduras was to, for some reason, I always loved to work with people. I knew enough English now. I had a lot of good credentials now when it comes to the professionalism. And I said I can go back to Honduras and open a school, English second language in Honduras. So I had all that stuff set up to go back to Honduras and do that. But then I met my wife. And met Michelle, and we dated for a couple months.
Oh, so you've known Michelle for that long? I didn't know that.
Yeah, we've been married 25 years.
Oh, wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, we've been married 25 years. I dated her for a few days, and I asked her to marry me. And
so you met her here in Kansas City?
Yeah,
okay.
A Price Shopper. I was cooking donuts at Price Shopper.
Can't get the donuts out yet.
I was making, bread at Price Shopper, and she worked there at the time. And I asked her to marry me. And then I met her through the month of October, month of November, we were engaged. February, we got married. And then we're still together somehow. Yeah. And we got 2 daughters. One is almost 24 and one is almost 20. They're both going to KU now.
Good for you.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And, but it has not been easy. Because in the year, my wife is a U.S. citizen. She was born here. It's a white girl. So in the year 2002, we were in the process of fixing my papers. And the immigration tricked me. They said, hey, come to the immigration department and you are coming in for your green cards interview, which is your permanent residence interview. Bring proof that you are married for real.
Sure.
Because there's people that marry for interest. And I said, sure, we got everything. So we packed the family. By now, I'm a homeowner. I have a kid, of course, a wife, new cars. I was making about $150,000 a year.
Wait.
Not making donuts. I was selling cars.
Oh, okay. I was like, what?
Yeah, I was selling cars.
So now you, okay. All right.
I was selling cars because I went to work at the local car dealership. and I was their number one salesman. I was the number one salesman. I was already recognized. I was good at it. So we show up to immigration. And they didn't say much. They just said, guys sat next to us, across at the desk, across from us. My wife on one side. I had a lawyer with me, myself, the family. And they said, this is what we got for you. We're going to deport you.
What?
Yes. And I said, why? And my wife was like, what do you mean deport? What? Well, he came to the United States illegally. And the typical, how you see in the movies that you marry a U.S. citizen and everything is none of that is true.
No, yeah.
None of that is true.
No, it's not. Yeah.
No. So they asked me to stand up and take my shoes off, take absolutely everything off.
So they were going to deport you then and there.
Right there. No, right there.
Uh-huh.
So they took everything off. No shoes, nothing, and put these things on my my feet over here. Handcuffs over here, a metal thing over here, and your right here, and then your handcuffs, and they run this thing through it, and they kind of put you in a situation look like a pig, and they walk me into it. Yeah,
this is like the cliffhanger. Like, what happens? What happened after that?
Well, I got put in jail. Something in my life I have never experienced. I have never had a confrontation with the police in any shape or form. Pay taxes. I've been paying, at the time I was already paying $30,000 in taxes a year. And I had excellent credit scores. I mean, everything was doing well.
Yeah.
I was living the American dream. And so at that point, I was taken to the Leavenworth or Atchison prison. They kept me there for 10 days. And several people tried to help me out. My wife called the White House. And they did all this work. Nothing worked. They said, nah, he's going home. So they sent me home. Sent me back to Honduras. Stayed in Honduras for 14 months. Yeah.
Jeez, and your family's here.
Everything is here.
Your daughter's here.
Everything. I made it back to Honduras with a little bag, with few white T-shirts, and that's it.
So you're there for 14 months.
14 months.
So I'm taking it you're trying to figure out how to get back.
Well, yes, and I got to tell you, it's psychologically awful. I mean, it's deteriorating what goes to your mind.
Of course.
While you're in jail, talking to all these people that's been in jail for 20 years, 17 years, 30 years in jail, and they're asking me, what the hell with you? What are you doing here? You don't look like a criminal. What are you doing? And the cool part in jail was that the guys were so nice to me after the second day. They're like, you don't deserve any of this. So we are giving you run the TV from now on.
That's nice. That's nice of them to do.
I became like the godfather running the TV and helping them out, mentor. I became like mentor to them in the jail. And the 10 days were very instructional to me because I learned about these people's problems. But when I got to Honduras, the first 2 weeks were awful because it was very difficult, But we had an attorney and a lot of things. Did
you have family still there? Or did
I had
they
a
all
brother.
move?
I had a brother.
So everyone even already left. So you just got one brother left.
So I made it to, after 2 weeks, I finally came to my senses and recovered. And I'm like, I got to get a job. But Honduras has a 64% employment. Yes. And my brother laughed because, what are you going to get a job? This is a 64% employment. There is no way.
No way.
I said, I know how to sell. So I went to the local car dealership. And in the book, you will find more details. If you buy the book, you will find all these details. There's a lot of details in there. But right now, I'm just telling as quick as possible.
Oh, you're good.
I went to the Chevy dealership over there. This Chevy dealership only sold 2 cars a month in the entire country. Yeah. And they hired me. After, some talking through and everything, they hired me to sell cars. And in my first week, I sold 1 car.
Which is...
It was amazing.
50% of their...
Yeah, but towards the end of the month, I sold 4. So at that point, they said, no. You got to teach us how do you do this. So I became their manager. and I started training them how to sell cars the American way. And we ended up hiring 13 salespeople.
Wow.
Yeah, under my command. And now we're selling 20, 30, 40 cars a month. Yes.
Jeez.
And that guy who used to make joke that I'm going to put a statue of you on this dealership. Yeah.
The best car salesman to ever grace Honduras.
Yeah. He always said, you found us in underwears. Yeah. And I said, well, you know.
So how did you get back?
Well, after the 14 months of attorney and phone calls and my wife's crying and begging and writing letters and the whole process. Miracles that happen along the way as well, you know. Somehow, all of a sudden, one day, there's more to it. You will see that in the book. But I tell you, just one day, all of a sudden they call and they say, hey, was a Thursday. It was a Monday. Hey, Carlos Vides, please come to the embassy. Can you come today? I said, yes. I had everything ready. Yes, I can. At this point, I never had an appointment to the embassy. Never. They call me in and they say, bring your passport, bring proof of you married, bring taxes, because they still expect you to pay taxes. Yeah. Even when you are not legally and everything, but you still expect to pay taxes. So I bring your taxes, bring everything. I brought everything to the embassy. This is in Honduras. So I bring everything and they look at it and they say, why are you here?
Because y'all put me here.
Yeah. They say, I don't know, you guys.
Yeah.
This is how I mean, you tell me. Well, you have no reason to be here. You should have never been here. And I said, well, once again, I don't know. But my family is definitely, I'm struggling, they are struggling. And I said, wow, we don't know why you're here. So they rushed the paperwork. But the long story short, this is May, right before Mother's Day. And then that was a Monday. By Wednesday, I'm back to the embassy. And by Thursday, I had my visa back.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And the ambassador said, hey, you know, she came out and gave me a big hug. And she said, you know, this is a Mother's Day gift to your wife. And so I said, are you going home today? I said, absolutely, I'm going home. That same day, I go back to the car dealership and I said, I'm leaving.
So what surprises me is that they messed up and they didn't even like help you get back home. They just said, here's your stuff. We're sorry. You got to pay to get back though.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess, you know, take it.
But you have no idea. When they gave me that visa, I was walking on, I felt like I was walking on a cloud. And I called my wife about it. She was crying. Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been an awesome moment.
Yeah. And so bought the ticket as quick as possible, made it to United States, and I made it here by the end of the weekend. So by Mother's Day, I for sure was here. But leaving the dealership over there was hard because they were not okay with me leaving.
Yeah, I bet not. You helped build them. Yeah.
They were not okay. They were like begging me, offering me all this money.
Just like,
and
I
said,
a family.
I am so sorry, but I gotta go.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I left and came back to work at the same car dealership that I always worked at. So I made it Sunday. Monday, I made it to a dealership and I said, I'm back. And they're like, oh my God. It was a super nice people. They gave me this big welcome. I came back to work and then it was in the month of May and it was like I never left. As soon as I got back into the business,
right back at it.
Recovered 100% within those time between the month of May, mid to May, Mother's Day, to the end of the year. I made enough money to have enough money to put in the bank, enough money to buy. So in 2004, now we bought a 6,500 square feet house and just move on to the American dream.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you get to the point where you are now? Like what you're doing now?
Well, you know,
I guess tell everybody what you're doing now because
what
you're
I
not
do,
a car dealership.
No, not anymore. I left the car business about December 2018. And my only goal is to work with people because it's a thing. I cannot get away from it. I enjoy teaching people how to be a good salesman, good businessman, and how to establish process in their companies. And so that's what I do today. I help business owners to run their business smooth. So I teach them processes, how to get their business to a point where they can be business owners, not employees at their business.
Yes.
Because
I hear that a lot.
yes, most business owners, they open a business and it's very exciting, but they focus on work, physically work, and that's not how it works. You got to learn how to run the business and how to become a business owner, because you do your best when you are running the business, not working in the business, like working as an employee at the business. And so that's what I teach step by step.
I got to learn.
Yeah.
Mike. All right.
And so I'm situated. I got a little office in Grandview, and I'm at the Blue Ridge Boulevard in 71 South, and I have a classroom. People come to my office, and we spend time together. Going through the steps, the process. I teach them anywhere from accounting, how their accounting works. I teach them if they need salespeople. I teach their salespeople how to sell their products. Whatever it is that they need, I work step by step with them. And now the reason why I wrote the book is I wanted to tell this story. There's a lot more details here.
Yeah.
And I'm interested in people, not only adults, but more kids reading the book. And that way the kids understand the immigrant, why we immigrate to this country, and why sometimes we act the way we do, and hopefully they understand us a little better by reading the book.
Yeah, that's a good way to put. Yeah, I mean, man, you have lived a life. So, what made you want to get into the role that you're in now?
Well, for being number one salesman in a car business, recognized by GM and recognized in a high level, and I was one of the highest paid salesmen in the car industry. And so, a lot of car salesmen, they're like, man, I broke several sales records in the car business. And so they're like, so I started training people, mentoring people in the car business. Then I went to, during the recession in 2008, I went to work at New York Life. In a New York Life, I sold 300 policies in the first 18 months. And I never sold insurance before, but I went there. And I left the car business because, when the banks closed, the GM went under, and all that stuff that happened, right? So I went from selling all these cars to sell 3 or 4 cars. So I left the industry for a minute, and I went to New York Life. And selling insurance, I ended up selling 300 policies, broke their sales as well. And they hired me to become their business consultant for them. And so I went to work for New York Life home office in New York City, and I became the rep for the company at the time in our local area.
Yeah.
And so I did that for until 2014, almost 2015. And then at that point, they decided to cancel my job here so they can move me somewhere else. But the money was not offered, and lifestyles changed. So I went back to the car business for a minute. So 2015, 16, 17, 18. So I went 4 years more in the car business. But now I went in with a different intention. I went in to learn more about the management side.
Yeah.
Because I knew that this is where I wanted to go.
Yeah.
And I worked there until the end of 18. And then at that point, I said, I'm done. I call it retire from the car business. And now my number one focus is to help individuals to reach their goals.
And so what is your business called now?
My business called Carlos Vides Advisor Academy. And with my academy, I teach people, I teach kids or grown-ups how to really understand a business process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And then you do stuff with schools or something, right?
Yes, I do a lot of speaking, public speaking. I became a member of the National Speaking Association, so I'm a professional speaker.
Yeah.
And I speak at schools, colleges, churches. Here in a few weeks, I'm going to be speaking at the universities. So I've been at the 11 War Military Base. I've been a lot of different places speaking. And the speak is about my story. People seem to absolutely enjoy my story.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. I didn't know anything about that. Like you said, you were telling the story, and I'm like, what's next? I'm like, cliffhanger. I'm like, oh my God.
And I just give you the highlights.
I know.
I didn't give you the details because it will take a few hours to give you the whole thing.
That could be a movie.
Well, You call it. We got the producer here.
You need to start producing this.
Yeah.
We can win a Grammy or Grammy, an Oscar.
We got the producer. But yes, that is the real deal. There's nothing to it. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you started that, and it's going well, and then you're involved a lot in the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce.
Yes,
too.
with the Hispanic Chamber. I actually been a member for about 20 years with the Hispanic Chamber. Yes. But not until 2018 that I've been able to get truly involved. And the passion, once again, is to help small business owners. Like during COVID-19, one of the things that I did was I would go around the small business owners, and I created a thing that's called the Spotlight. So I would spotlight a business every week. Every week I would spotlight one or two. And that's actually how I ended up getting into the podcasting and to all these different things, because we actually have a real studio where we have real cameras and everything. And it's just, we interview people, we tell the stories with my program to educate the community. And just yesterday I had a lady that was telling the story about how she's working. She's a police officer, but she has a foundation now where they're helping educating parents, Hispanic parents, about drugs at school. And so those are the things I have passion for, working with the community, teaching them about how to get better.
Yeah. So do you focus more on the Hispanic?
Right now I do, because I feel that that's the community that needs the most work. And so I tell people I don't need to get fancy making all this fancy money, but I do appreciate when somebody, pay me a little bit.
Of course, yeah.
But what I get the biggest result is seeing these people succeeding.
Yes.
Where I have business owners that started from zero with me 3 years ago, and right now they're making $2 or $3 million with their business.
All right, Carlos, I'm going to get with you so I can get to that point.
And they're not in trouble with the IRS.
Yeah.
In the past, they made a little money and they got in trouble with the IRS because they were not doing it properly.
Yeah.
Now I help them out to establish a business that is running healthy. They make profit. They're able to buy things and not be scared that they owe money to the IRS.
Yeah.
Because, that's really the game. Yeah.
Man, what a crazy story.
Yeah.
So how we met, you came in here, smoked cigars.
Shop.
How did you get into cigars?
Well, I got into cigars. I always liked the smell of cigars. I tried to smoke cigarettes when I was a kid, didn't care for it. But I always liked the smell of cigars. And for several years now, Michelle and I, my wife and I, have been looking for a place that we can go hang out, relax. And when I came to your place, I found the place to be very relaxing.
Yes.
I like your environment where I can come, sit down, and sometimes not even talk. Just smoke one or two cigars and just listen to your music. Jazz music is cool. And feel safe as well. And because sometimes when I go to places, it's super loud.
Oh, yeah.
Loud, smoky, and people everywhere. That is not me.
That's not me either. Yeah.
Yeah, that is not me. And so I was looking for a place where we can go and just, like I said, relax, detox from the week. Because I start my day around 4:30 in the morning.
Holy smokes.
Every day. And sometimes it's 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, and still going. And it's 6 days a week. And my day consists of getting up early, meditation, lots of reading. Every single day there is a reading going on. Go to church and go through the whole process. And constantly, I got to prepare for my clients. I have to be sharp for my clients. And every single day at my office is like a clinic, a doctor's clinic. There is always one or two people walking in.
Of course, yeah.
With all kinds of problems. And my job is to resolve. Yes.
So tell me what you would tell someone if they ask, what is one or two things that you have to do in life to be successful? First,
understand your craft really well. Once you understand your craft, then the next part is know your customer segment. Who you're going to cater to at the very first step. Once you understand who you're going to cater to, then study up that segment. Study up what's the age, what's the economical level, what's the education level, where do they live, how do I get my product to them. That's the part one. The second part is the part one, and that will be the part two, because the first one is understand your product and what is your product, what is the value and the purpose of your product. You know, then once you understand the value and the purpose of your product is unique, because if you are just competing with everybody, it's not good enough.
Yeah.
You have to have some kind of uniqueness to your service. Like you have the relaxed environment, good cigars, excellent, like a family style type of environment. Okay, that is what makes you unique. And that is also the value that you offer to your clients. You offer them environment the way they feel safe, and smoke quality cigars, in a family style ambient. Okay, perfect. You got that.
Yeah.
Now, who's going to be that customer? Is going to have the ability to pay for that environment.
Yeah.
Right. So then you have to find that niche.
People you cater to.
Who you going to cater to? Okay, you found it. How are you going to communicate to them? And how much it's going to cost you to establish the business? How long is it going to take to get your business to be sustainable?
Yeah.
Okay, so once we establish all that, now, okay, I got that. And that should happen even before you open the business. Once you have that area in place, now, okay, how much would this cost me to get this place open?
Yeah.
And how long is it going to take me to get to the green? Because you're going to maybe run red for a few months to a year sometimes. So then do you have enough funds? If you don't, where will you get them?
Yeah.
Who are your partners? Who are your alliance? In your situation, your alliance are the banks. In your situation, and your suppliers.
Yeah.
Who are my suppliers, right? So what's the friendship with my suppliers? What's the relationship? Can I negotiate prices at a better prices so I can compete or better? So that's how it works.
You got it down to a science. I love it. So before we end this, talk about your book, man.
Well, this book, you can find it on Amazon or call me or come. You can find me through Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Carlos Vides Advisor Academy, and also you can hire me. If you want me to come and speak to your company, you can call me. I can come and speak to your company or your school, your organization. Anything that you think I can motivate your group with, I love to. But this book is to inspire kids, to inspire families that are feeling left out. And people that feels that the life is hard, the life is over, the life is... no, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it's not. You
Not
just
at all.
haven't figured out what the hell you want. Yeah, because
I love that.
most people don't know what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, guys, you got to check the book out. I bought one, but then we had to get it replaced because somebody messed up. Not Carlos here, but yes, I'm looking forward to reading it and it's. I mean, you've done so much in your life, and you're just beginning, really.
Really, I feel that way. I think I have at least 25 more years to go.
I'd say about 35. I know.
Yeah.
You're a hard worker. You're not going to stop at 25.
Well, my father passed away in 98, and he didn't start working until he was like 92, 93.
Oh man.
So I think
you got to enjoy it. You got to enjoy life, though.
But now the way I work is not work to me; it's fun to me.
Yeah.
And it's so rewarding because I'm helping people, and people seems to do well with my advice. And because they do well, I do well as well. Yeah.
Well, my friend, it has been a pleasure having you on.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I'm so glad you got to share your story.
Excellent.
I didn't even know all this. And I'm just like, only thing I knew is what you did and where you're from. And I was like, whoa, this is crazy. I didn't know all this.
Well,
so, yes.
And I've been coming to see you about 14 months now.
Yes, yes. And I love it. I appreciate you being a member here.
Thank you. It's my pleasure, and
yes.
it's definitely a great place to hang out.
Yes, thank you, my friend. Well, once again, thank you. And thank you guys for tuning in. Like I said, like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Check us out. Check Carlos out. Check his book out, What It Takes. You can find it, sounds like, on everywhere. And he's probably be #1 seller here soon. When people start finding out what the book entails.
You definitely can find it on Amazon.
Yes. Please check it out and check us out next time. We are out.
Goodbye, everybody.